What was life like for Civil War veterans after the war? Imagine returning home after years of fighting, only to find a world that feels both familiar and completely changed. That was the reality for Civil War veterans. These men faced a mix of physical injuries, emotional scars, and social adjustments. Many carried visible wounds from gunshot or sword wounds, and some had lost limbs. Others had injuries that weren't obvious but affected their daily lives, like chronic pain or disabilities. Emotionally, many veterans struggled with what we now call post-traumatic stress disorder. They often relived the horrors of battle, had trouble sleeping, or felt anxious and withdrawn. Back then, there was little understanding or support for these mental health issues, so many kept their feelings to themselves. For Confederate veterans, the end of the war meant accepting defeat and rebuilding their lives in a devastated South. Their towns had been destroyed, farms ruined, and economies shattered. Some tried to return to farming or small businesses, but many found it hard to start over. Some men held onto their Confederate ideals and refused to accept the new reality, while others left the country altogether. Union veterans, having fought for the victory of the United States, faced their own challenges. They returned to a nation that was trying to heal and grow stronger. Many took pride in their service, but adjusting to civilian life was tough after years of discipline and violence. Jobs like farming, factory work, or trades were common, but injuries sometimes made work difficult. The government offered pensions and compensation, especially for Union soldiers, but getting these benefits could be complicated and not always enough to cover their needs. Veterans found comfort and camaraderie in organizations like the Grand Army of the Republic for Union soldiers and the United Confederate Veterans for those from the South. These groups held reunions, published newsletters, and fought for benefits. They became a way for veterans to share their stories and support each other. These groups grew large, with hundreds of thousands of members at their peak, and helped keep the memory of the war alive. Veterans also played a role in shaping how the Civil War was remembered. They took part in parades, gave speeches, and helped build monuments honoring their fallen comrades. Their stories became part of the national history, influencing how future generations understood the conflict. As decades passed, the last surviving veterans became symbols of a bygone era. The final Union veteran, Albert Wilson, died in 1956, and the last Confederate veterans passed away in the same decade. Their funerals were grand ceremonies, and they were honored as living links to the past. Life after the war was a mix of hardship and community for these men. They faced many challenges, but their experiences also show how soldiers from any war have to adjust and rebuild. Their stories reminded us of the lasting impact the Civil War had on individuals and on American society as a whole.